You lived in the Amazon for more than 10 years? What was that like?
Uh, Mind-boggling, extraordinary place. It really is. The First, I want to get back to the people. First of all, extraordinary people of the Amazon. It's a tough place. It's a tough place to live, and it's a poor place. The rainforest is not as bucolic and peaceful as you might see in some of the movies or animations that you see in the rainforest. It's a tough place. It's full of danger, and it's also a poor place. The villages are poor. And so the rainforest itself and the people who live there are just extraordinary. Very, they're very gracious, people full of grace, to visitors, to outsiders. We're outsiders, even though we did go repeatedly to some villages and began to feel very at home in some of the villages. They're very welcoming and generous and full of joy despite their circumstances. And I would say that joy in the people and the Brazilians derives from their faith. Many of them are people of strong faith and their faith in God, and that joy comes out of that root. And the second thing I would say is about the rainforest itself, which is just a garden of exquisite beauty. It's just full of jewels, all kinds of jewels, flower jewels and animal jewels, monkeys, and all kinds of beautiful things to see, butterflies and insects and birds that have never been categorized, never been named. We would see a bird on some of the trails and say, when we go back home, we had a pretty good field, we had a pretty good guidebook of different creatures, and we could not find the bird in it. And so we think, well, that bird has never maybe been named or even seen. There are thousands of species like that. And so the beauty of the rainforest, I think the people and the beauty of the rainforest, extraordinary. Also a place that's dangerous. And there's something about a place that's dangerous that also excites your senses, right? And makes you really remember in a vivid way.
So, did you spend time on the river?
Lots of time on the boats. Our mission over those years was to go out to, in Scripture it says the uttermost reaches of the world or the uttermost ends of the world. And we felt like we were at the uttermost ends of the world sometimes. Out on the boats a lot, on the different rivers, not just the Amazon, but the Tapajos and the Arapiuns, and it's a beautiful river just... and then to the villages. And we would stay in the villages a week, sometimes a little longer than that, and sometimes go back to the same village. So we got to know the people there, and extraordinary. Uh, Multifaceted. I would say the rivers are not always like you picture them. The Amazon sometimes is like going across a giant lake. It's like 6-7 miles across in some places, maybe even more at flood stage. And then the Arapiuns is like kind of a smaller, river that's enclosed with jungle, more like something you'd see in a Tarzan movie. So it's very different. You can't really capture it in with, one picture or it's a large place. The Amazon is the size of the eastern United States. So yeah, lots of different things there to excite you and see.
What are some of the things you really miss that you think about, wish you could?
I miss adventure. I live in the suburbs now in South Carolina, and suburbs are a whole adventure also in a kind of jungle, right? Out on the interstate, the adventure of the interstate is very different than but I miss I miss the mystery of the and the I have a friend, Joaquin, a good Brazilian friend, who believes there are large mammals yet left in the Amazon, among many other species to be described, to be discovered. And so I miss that, the adventure of it. And it's raw life. It's like rough camping every day, in the wilderness camping. I miss that rough edge.
Mm. Uh, so, the language of Brazil is
Portuguese.
Portuguese,
Right.
And you speak Portuguese?
I do, yeah. It's a beautiful language. It's a really great language. It's very lyrical and poetic and very romantic. a great language to do poetry in, or write romance, or write your romantic, love letter, and one of the romance languages, right, as they say. Beautiful, kind of a marriage between Spanish and French, I think. Yeah.
And does Portuguese enter into your novel?
I did. I did. There are words and phrases in Portuguese that I decided to put in the book that are like seasoning. And I have confidence in my readers that they'll like that, and they'll like that seasoning, like a well-seasoned dish on the table. It has maybe some hot pepper in it, and some different things. So it does have some Portuguese. We wrote with the beautiful help of my wife, Betty, who's very fluent. She's a very, very truly fluent speaker of Portuguese. Did a glossary in the book so that you can find those terms if you want to go into a little more detail.
Well, that would be helpful for me.
Yeah. Wonderful.